Hello, Unlockers. Michelle here. I wanted to give you a very quick Make It Real video on how to respond in the moment to overwhelm. So it's like an emergency overwhelm technique that you can use. And this is the one that I use, and it really, really helps me. So if you're feeling and you manage to notice that you're feeling overwhelmed, either emotionally or in a sensory way or cognitively, these are the things that I do. And I call it working from the bottom up. So I call it rooting. I put my feet on the ground and I concentrate on feeling them heavy on the ground. Generally, if I'm stood up, I put my feet a hip width apart. So I feel my feet root to the ground. So that's the root. Then I work up and I focus on my breathing. And I make sure I slow my breathing down. So I don't want to overcomplicate this. Ideally, you could do the square breathing. Breathe in for 2, hold for 2, breathe out for 2, hold for 2, which really works to regulate your breathing. And breathing is one of the most important things that you can do to emotionally regulate or cognitively regulate in the moment when you're feeling overwhelmed. So feet first, work your way up to your diaphragm and concentrate on your breathing. And then you can work your way up to your head. And then you're in a position, once you've rooted and you've slowed your breathing down, to do the observation technique. Now, I pretend that I'm David Attenborough looking at myself, and I kind of do a body scan and I try and describe how I'm feeling, what the situation is, as if I'm a detached observer. So that really helps me to go, okay, feeling a bit sweaty, moving around, need to stay still. This is the situation. This is why it's happened. And that helps me to make an assessment, to slow my brain down enough to decide if I need to stop the situation and go, do excuse me, can you give me a few minutes? And then you're giving yourself that time to kind of regulate yourself, which is really, really important in the moment. Or if you need to leave the situation and say, look, do excuse me, I need to leave, or need to remove yourself for sensory overload purposes. So you need to give yourself time to make a decision as to what the best thing to do. You can't do that if you're kind of swallowed up in a tornado of overwhelm and emotions and sensory overload. So what you need to do is root, feel your feet on the ground, concentrate on those, feel that heavy, work your way up to your diaphragm, breathe. Square breathing is ideal. Then you can work your way up to your head and do the observation technique once you've regulated where you are stood and your breathing in that moment. And that is an incredibly helpful tip for Make It Real this week to manage emergency overwhelm situations.